Welcome everybody to our Operational Services Committee meeting. On the committee is myself, Councillor O'Connor and Councillor O'Toole. Mayor Clayton is not with us today because she's at another commitment, and so I will ask for somebody to look at adoption of agenda. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Thanks for the motion. And that carries. We have no delegations this morning, so we'll go into our reports, and we'll start with our service area update, and I'll look for Chief Glavin, please.
Thank you, Chair Palat. We'll start off with engineering transportation services. Residential street sweeping is scheduled to begin on full scale here in June 2nd. I believe they've already started to dip into some areas, which is good news. We've also recently posted the RFP for the 132nd Avenue and 116th Street twinning for preliminary design, as well as identifying land requirements. I've had a number of procurements that have recently closed, including the request for tender for the Borstad Hill electrical cabinets, the storm sewer rehabilitation, bridge and repair and maintenance, our road rehabilitation phase 5, as well as our storm line cleaning and inspection programs for this year. As well, with May long weekend having passed, that's usually the time that our asphalt plants begin producing, and we have a number of construction projects that are now underway throughout the city, which I'm sure some of you have seen, including the full depth reclamation of 84th Avenue west of Bear Creek to 108th Street, the overlays of 102A Street to 85th Avenue on Landing Drive, Royal Oaks, 102nd Street to 103B Street, 102nd Street from 104th Avenue to 116th Avenue, as well as a few of different storm projects that won't be as disruptive to traffic as the aforementioned ones on the roads. In corporate facility management, we've begun will be beginning the Eastlink Center Fieldhouse floor refurbishment June 2nd. That's expected to wrap up by the 22nd. Yesterday, we began the refurbishment of squash courts at Eastlink for the fronts. That should be a fairly short one and be done by the 29th. As well, we've recently posted the tender for refurbishment of the sundial at Center 2000 for the brick. Facilities management also participated in the Youth Career Discovery Expo that was well attended, and they were able to provide some experiences for kids with the automation test bench as well as our security camera display. In environment and parks, we had Environment and Park staff participate in the annual Walk Through the Forest event, which engaged with over 1,000 students on the benefit of the urban forest. As well, we're expecting our annual flowers to arrive here at the end of this week. Crews will organize the delivery and we'll start planting next week. And development services, our building permit construction value is up this year from 23.7 million at the same period last year, from January to April, to just under $38 million this year. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thanks for that, Chief Glavin. I'll look for questions committee. Councillor Bressie, please.
Great. Thank you, Chair Palat. Chief Glavin, something I'm curious about is I'm noticing there's a lot of dead trees again on 100th Avenue downtown. Could you give us an update on what's going on with those trees?
Thank you, Chair Palat. I'm not yet aware of any dead trees. However, there are different species of trees that don't leaf as early. So there's oak from, I believe, 98th Street to 99th Street that leaf later than the rest of them. And that was done for the different species that were chosen there was just in case we do get a disease downtown. It doesn't wipe out all of downtown at once. But we do monitor that, and if we don't see, if there is a leafing issue going into probably the second week of June, then we might have concerns, but as of right now, we don't currently have concerns.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. I have a couple of questions for you, Chief Glavin. Just on the 132nd, 116th Street work that's being done with the RFP, is the intent to be able to potentially bring something to the 2026 budget deliberations for next steps, or?
Yeah, thanks, Chair Palat. The intent will likely be to identify the land requirements and begin purchasing some of that. So we will be bringing forward that for sure into this fall's budget. And if we do have detailed cost estimates at that time, we would also bring those.
Okay, great. I did have a couple other questions just on some operational things that I've had community members reach out to. I'm just wondering, I've had some comments and concerns. Again, we've put in for engineering for a couple areas of the gravel roads that have some areas, and we've had some individuals looking at doing local improvements. But 101st Street is also another one that keeps coming up for me. And I'm just wondering if you can maybe just send out council an email of the process of what we do with the gravel roads, what we're repairing. I'm hearing conflicting things from different business members in the community, and so I just would like to know what our actual process is as far as how often we grade, if we're oiling them, what we're watering, what we're doing to get, dust control. And there is quite a bit of, it's pretty washboardy on a few of those roads right now. So just if I can understand the process, I think I could pass along the constituents. That would be great. If that's something, do I need to formalize a motion, or is that something you're okay with just throwing an email out to?
Yeah, well, we can just send an email out to committee. Okay,
appreciate that. And then my other one, I had a constituent ask just in the country club area. I did drive by it this morning, the Jim Clyke Park. The weeds are almost up to the knees, and I'm just wondering, are we just starting our rotations for landscaping and that, or is, I guess, just to get back this individual one, they could expect to have that mowed, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Palat. I'll have them look into that specifically, but they have begun mowing operations around the city, so I'll confirm that is on the list for service.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. So we'll move on to our next item on our agenda, and I'll look for administration. Sorry, Councillor O'Toole.
I have one question regarding 102nd Street. We're in the Avondale area where the curb and pavement is being replaced. I was just wondering, have they found anything that's a little scary, or is it pretty much a routine repair?
Yeah, thanks, Chair Palat. I'm not aware of anything on that particular stretch of road. It's only slated for an overlay, so that generally would be minor repairs, spot repairs of concrete. That would be about it.
Yeah, no, they're taking some chunks of concrete out on the edges and filtering down the asphalt. It looks like it's just a normal process, but I don't think they found anything bad. So, thank you.
Okay. Thanks for the service area update, Chief Glavin. So we'll move on to our request for a waiver, and I'll just look to administration to introduce 4.8.
Thank you, Chair Palat. The City has received a request under Policy 607 to waive the fees, securities, and levies for the Ken Sargent House, which is a non-profit development located near the Grande Prairie Regional Hospital. The proposed facility will provide 21 fully furnished suites and shared living areas for patients, caregivers, and families who are traveling for medical care. The request is to waive fees, securities, and levies totaling just over $171,000. After reviewing the application, administration supports waiving the fees and securities totaling $141,000 while recommending that levies remain payable. Fees and securities are eligible for waiver under Policy 607, and in this case, the risk to the city is low. The project will still follow regular permitting and inspection processes. Levies, however, can't be waived without taking from other municipal budgets. These include the Transportation Offsite Levy and the provincially mandated Safety Codes Levy, which must be paid. Administration recommends approval of the waiver of fees and securities while levies remain applicable. And the applicant is here in the gallery if committee has questions or wants to hear more about what they would like. Thank you.
I appreciate the report, Ms. Downing. Any questions for Ms. Downing or the proponents? Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, thank you very much. So you're saying it's about $30,000 in levies that you're recommending 140 and there's 30 balance?
Thank you, through the chair. That's correct.
I'm just wondering if I could have a question of the proponents. I'm a huge supporter of this project. Want to leave it? Yeah.
Gentlemen, if you want to just come up and introduce yourself, and I think the mics are on, but if you want to just pull them towards yourself, introduce yourself, and we'll probably have a few questions for you. So thanks for coming in.
Yeah. My name is Randy Glenn. I'm with Helix Engineering. We are providing some of the engineering support for the development. And I was, along with Allison's great help, was the one that put this application together. So, and
I'm Keith Curtis. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Grande Prairie Regional Hospital Foundation and the lead for the project.
Okay.
My question is, if we only gave you, sorry if I termed it that way, if you only get 140,000, will this be a detriment for going ahead and the other 30,000? I'd like to advocate for that, but then we have to take money from somewhere else. So how does this work into your project?
So it is a community-funded project. So we have been raising funds throughout the community and throughout the north, from as far away as Lacrete to the BC border to Fox Creek. So this would just help us enhance the house and be able to offer more services and better facilities for the guests and patients and family members as they come to Grande Prairie. So it just makes it better for the project overall if we did receive the extra 30,000 for sure.
Okay, and just to follow up, so have you raised, what percentage of your fundraising have you raised for the project?
We're about 62% right now, and we'll continue to raise the rest of the funds as we go through the rest of the project. We are working with 5 different oil and gas companies that are head officed in Calgary, and we have meetings with them in 2 weeks. Plus, the director of Ken Sargent House, Dale Bond, is currently on the road, working with other municipalities and towns and smaller centers as well to raise funds. So we do have about another just over almost $5 million left to raise. But the project is going ahead, so we are sod turning on Thursday with the foundation bridging the finance gap.
Yes, that's unfortunate that it's on Thursday. I would love to be there, but I'll be in Ottawa, so attending FCM. So
Should ask for something.
Slightly jealous because Ottawa's my favorite city.
So I will have a question for administration once the delegate. Thanks for filling us in, unless somebody else has questions.
Thank you for inviting us.
Councillor O'Toole, did you have any questions for the delegates?
I'm going to leave it. I was going to make a motion, but we'll let the process go.
Okay. I just had one question. I'm happy to hear about this groundbreaking, same as Councillor O'Connor, unfortunately won't be at FCM. When's the hopeful opening date? When's the...
It's supposed to be a 14-month build.
Okay. So
as we know, Grande Prairie, some things, because we're so far away and the weather can change, it could be as much as 16 months. So hopefully it's supposed to be open before the end of next year. We're really aiming to have it open before Festival of Trees next year. So.
Okay. And just as you're probably aware, and I mean, Mr. Glenn's in this world, lots of costs of escalating and running over on lots of projects. Have you guys tendered this out? Are you pretty comfortable with the numbers that you're getting, and that you're pretty comfortable you'll be able to stay within the budget that you're hoping for?
We are. It's been really great having it, because it's a partnership between us, Northwest Polytechnic, and Rotary Clubs of Grande Prairie. It's been very thoroughly vetted, and it's a general contract and not, or a guaranteed contract, so we should be able to stay within our budget. We do have a little bit of a contingency if we do go over or costs go up, but for the most part we're fairly confident.
Okay, great. I appreciate the project. It's going to be a great one, great fit for our city. Another one of these long overdue kind of projects that we've dreamt about, but I'm glad to see it's coming to fruition, that the sod turning is this week. So excited for your organization.
Thank you.
Any questions or any more business arising?
Just to administration. So
okay, go ahead, Councillor O'Connor.
I'm just wondering, Ms. Whiteway, if we were to have we provided any funding other than the waiver of fees and stuff?
Thank you through the chair. To my own knowledge, no, nothing in addition.
So if we were to recommend it going forward, is there a funding source for the balance of $30,000? Would there be an appropriate question to ask that?
Thank you through the chair. There would be capacity to pull from future expenditures reserve. We are working through our capital projects and finalizing for our mid-year presentation. So there may be some opportunity there if council so chooses.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll look for business arising, please. Councillor Riddle.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to this project opening. I won't be there either. We've got meetings, so as a Rotary member, it really sucks. As a city councillor, I'm glad to see things are happening. And with that, I'll make a motion that the Operational Services Committee approve the request to waive the fees and securities only, with levies remaining applicable for the Ken Sargent House under Policy 607.
Thanks for the motion. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Okay. Seeing none, I guess we'll call the question, please. And that carries. So, sorry we didn't give you the additional funding, but you know, we'd just like to see this project.
There'll be more discussion.
So thanks for coming in, though, guys. I appreciate it. So we'll move on to 4.3, our Bear Creek River Control Study structure, and I'll just look for administration to introduce, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Palat. So we issued a tender in the spring to address the deficiencies that were discovered during the provincially mandated annual engineering inspections. The results of that tender have seen costs come in higher than budget, and we're recommending reallocating some capital from an existing funding source or existently funded project to this one. But that I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Sally for the details.
Okay, thanks for that, Mr. Glavin. Go ahead, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, through the chair. Just here today to again request additional funds for the Bear River Control Structure Armouring project that it was tendered in spring here. Came back 396,000. The numbers in there for sure. 390. Sorry. Oh. Hi. Looking to transfer the 396,000. Where am I now? Sorry. 643 from the 2024 storm budget to move over to cover the costs there. There was one minor thing that I didn't correct in there. Was within the table it has engineering and contingency. There is no contingency. We had taken that out. I just forgot to scratch the contingency line. So there is no contingency included within this budget.
Okay. Okay, questions? Councillor O'Toole.
So a question about the future. Will any of this work be affected by future project in the Bear Reservoir with the removal possibly of the dam?
Thank you, through the chair. There would be, dependent on what comes back from the reservoir feasibility study, there may be some areas that do, but with what we've done here, we have tried to anticipate, and any of that material could be pulled out if it needed to be and reused somewhere else.
Okay.
Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, I looked at your table one there, and the math didn't work for me, so I was going, there's 100,000 missing, but you're saying there's 176. When I took the 613,507 and then deducted the 116 from it, I got 496,000. It's $100,000 difference. So if you take 176, it makes it even a different number.
Through the chair. So with the table there, the approved budget was the 1.7. The tendered bid was for the 2.037222. The engineering costs were the 176,285. The shortfall is the 613,507. The $116,864 is actually money that we're putting towards the project. As an increase to cover some of the deficiency costs that were realized during a past project. So that's actually, that one is an addition to it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. That answers it.
Okay. Just a question from you guys. I just want to confirm, because I know we're having this consultation going out about the Bear Creek and the corridor study there. One of the options was to remove the dam altogether. in this project, if I'm correct on that. So I'm curious if for some reason the community said we want to remove all the dam together, would this not all be almost all throwaway costs then? Like if we're removing this dam that we're about to armor, is this not just going to be throwaway? Like I'm confused. I'm not saying that the community is going to pick that option, but if that were picked, what would happen then?
Thanks, Chair Plot. So right now, regardless of what we choose to do with any of the options, in order for the dam to meet regulations, we have to do this work, and none of the other work is likely to be done in the short term. So we have to do this, or we're going to be compelled to do it by the regulator. What Mr. Sally was saying is that, and maybe I'll elaborate slightly, is that there'll be some labor and machinery costs that will be associated with the installation of this that will be throwaway cost if we chose to remove the dam, but the material itself could be repurposed for any of the other scenarios.
Okay. I'm looking forward to this study wrapping up, and so we can see which direction we're heading. I'll look for business rising. Councillor O'Connor, please.
I'll be O'Toole. Will that work?
Sure.
Did you want to do it?
Yeah, I was in there.
Then go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Councillor.
You're fighting over a motion. Oh, my goodness. I'd like to move committee, recommend council allocate $396,643 from the 2024 Storm Utility Capital Improvements budget to the Spillway Armoring Project.
Thanks for that. Councillor O'Connor, any discussion or debate? Seeing none, please vote. Councillor Plot in favor. And that carries. So we'll move on to 4.4, vacant lands in the BIA area. And I'll look to Chief Glavin to introduce, please.
Thanks, Chair Palat. At the last council meeting, council directed administration to bring information regarding current vacant lots in the BIA that could support fourplexes. And Mr. Johnson prepared a PowerPoint presentation that he'll go over with committee now.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Palat. If I could bring up the, perfect, thank you. As discussed, the motion was passed last council meeting, and we're responding with this presentation. So the motion specifically referenced the business improvement area. I've overlaid the business improvement area on the air photo here. And when compared to the city's land use bylaw, which is the central commercial district, is the primary governing land use district for the downtown, outlined in yellow. When compared to the BIA boundary, there are some anomalies. So for the purposes of this review, we took the greater boundary of the two here. So in some cases, that will be the central commercial district, and in some cases, it'll be the BIA boundary. A quick review of residential uses in the central commercial district. Permitted uses, apartment building with a minimum of 24 units and 3 stories, or mixed-use apartment buildings, which has a commercial component and 3 or more dwelling units. As far as discretionary uses, there are mixed-use apartment buildings, which again has a commercial component and up to 2 dwelling units. Multi-attached developments, which fourplexes would fall under, are not a use that is identified in the CC district. So if you just have a purely residential use, it would be the apartment building with a minimum of 24 units. If you're looking to do fewer than 24 units, then the mixed-use apartment building is the approach. However, for the purposes of this review, we made a number of assumptions, just given the spirit of the motion. So an assumption would be that multi-attached is a use that is allowed in the CC district. We chose to follow the same development standards as the residential transition district in terms of setbacks and parking. The central commercial district does not have any setbacks, nor does it have any parking requirements. So keep that in mind. We did include some city-owned properties, such as the former York property and former Germain property, but excluded others like the Montrose site. We also excluded parking lots and underutilized lots, and therefore only counted completely vacant and unused lots. And furthermore, some lot consolidation and or subdivision may be required to allow for the development. So based on the motion and what I've described above, our analysis resulted in approximately 24 fourplexes could be developed in the CC/BIA boundaries, which is comprised of approximately 16 sites. Of course, if it were a larger development, then that would reduce the opportunities, because in some cases there was 2 fourplexes placed side by side. The motion referenced support a fourplex or larger. So if it were a larger development, then it might squeeze out an opportunity for a fourplex. And with that, I'm open to any questions, comments, or discussion.
Okay, thanks for the report. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, thank you very much, Joe, for the report. Appreciate it. My concern is that if we're only focusing on, and I know why Councillor Plott made this motion at council, and I'm concerned that we're limiting it. If it's 24 units, and I think it was, if you could put that slide back up, it showed 24 and 3. Yes, thank you, 3 stories high. But nothing is referenced as to retrofitting commercial buildings. And I'm wondering, is there an opportunity to relax the rules and allow people to retrofit buildings for anything over 4? I'm not sure if that's possible.
I'll look for administration on that one.
Yep. Thank you, Chair Plott. Yes, in the instance where there'd be if they were retrofitting a commercial building to turn it into an apartment building, the minimum 24 units is a development standard, and therefore it can be varied. However, it would be important that that particular development would meet the definition of an apartment building as opposed to a multi-attached. And I won't get into the details unless you'd like me to, but there are some definition differences between multi-attached and apartment building. Multi-attached is not a use that's identified in the CC district, and therefore no variance option is available in that instance.
Okay, so just to clarify then, if we were to recommend as council to say we know of a project that could take 10 apartments, would we need to make a change to the CC to be able to allow that development? And I'm thinking of the one proposal we had on O'Brien Place that is going to put in 15. I think it's better to make the rules so we're complying rather than try and force something. And if this needs to go back and put some thought around this, I don't have a problem with that, but I think we're limiting ourselves in the BIZ, and I like how you overlapped and took the greater, that intensifying our downtown core will make it better for people living in our community. And so I'm just wondering, what is the process do you see going forward?
Through the chair, there are 2 options. As noted in that particular development proposal, there is the opportunity for a variance. So no amendments to the land use bylaw would be required. There is a process that can be followed, and administration is confident in following that process. I don't anticipate any issues. However, should council wish to review the land use bylaw with respect to residential development in the CC district, then committee and or council could direct administration to do so. But simply put, in order to accommodate that specific development proposal, no amendments to the land use bylaw are required.
Well, that's pretty good news, and I really think that I will encourage this to come forward at either another meeting or back to council to discuss the feasibility of adding more intensification in the downtown core. And what that looks like, I don't know, but I would appreciate my fellow councillors having that discussion and to look at, is this a place where we need to change our parameters on perhaps our grants? So I'll throw it back to you, Chair Palat, and I'm just looking for advice going forward.
Okay. No, I just want to confirm, so the proponent that come in could apply for a variance for that project with what's the current process we have now.
Through the chair, yes.
Okay,
that's correct.
No, that's great to know. Just had a question for you, Mr. Johnson, on one of their slides, and I'm just curious on the CC, and I appreciate you doing the bigger overlay with the CC district. There's fourplexes in some of those areas now. Were they all discretionary uses at the time, or because maybe I misunderstand, but in the BA it sounds like it's only a threeplex, but there's some properties in it that are fourplexes. So did we switch them, or are those a variance at one point?
Yes, there is a bit of a history with respect to residential development opportunities in the Central Commercial District. At one point, multi-attached developments were permitted use. The previous council, I should say, had concerns about the downtown getting potentially filled up with smaller residential developments. And at the time, it was felt that lot consolidation with larger residential developments was a more desirable outcome. And so the council of the day directed administration to bring forward amendments, and those amendments have remained in the current land use bylaw.
Okay, no, that makes sense for me. For Councillor O'Connor, if it was something that you were looking at, I mean, this is really just to receive for information. There's no business arising. I would suggest if you wanted to look at more something like that you either try to make a motion now or think about something to bring to a future committee. But if I'm understanding this, this will be closed, receive permission, and this will be a done project. So if you did have an appetite to go past that, you would probably need to break a motion at a committee at some level or at a council.
Well, then I would like to move that we refer to Council Committee of the Whole so that all council can be part of the discussion and take a look at this, because this could be a very good thing or a very bad thing. And so I think weighing in, so is that a possibility?
I'm looking for administration. I don't know if that gives them any clarity, I guess, Councillor O'Connor. If we're just going to have a discussion with no parameters or direction of what we're going to discuss, it's probably hard for admin to really dial that in. So I just looking for alleged services, giving us some opportunity for options as well. So go ahead, Chief Glavin or Deputy
Thanks,
CEO.
Chair Palat. With this being received for information, it would still be noted in the minutes that would go to the next council meeting, which could be an opportunity for council if anybody wanted to resurrect any thing from that and make a motion at that time.
Okay, so if you're comfortable with that, Councillor O'Connor, maybe just, I think part of the problem we got in last week is we have an appetite to try to solve problems sometimes, and we try to wordsmith things on the fly. So if you have some time here between now and next Monday to think of a formal motion, that would probably be appropriate to do at that time.
Yeah, unfortunately, next council meeting, we're flying back from FCM, so we will not be here. So this may have to be delayed a little bit longer, but I think the longer we have it, the more discussion that we could have. I'm not sure where to insert it. Okay. Any recommendations?
So my recommendation would be if you're not going to be able to bring it up at next council, this will receive permission. We would have received this report as council on next Monday. Would be the following committee meeting is to ask for new business and put in a motion as new business arising. We can discuss and debate it then, and if that were to pass, then that motion would be something that our administration will go back and do some work on.
I'll just move the business